Alright, sorry to change this up on you again, but I tried writing the paragraph with my video on, and I just couldn't concentrate very well on writing a very good paragraph, so I edited my paragraph and I'm just going to walk you through it. This is still taken from all of the sentences that you gave me. Up at the top of your screen you can see several phrases that I'm going to use in this paragraph that are really good ones for any kind of more academic writing or any kind of compare-contrast writing that you might do. So just to review these real quick, some of them you already know, some may be new to you. So beide is both. Ähnlich is similar. Zum Beispiel, for example. Deshalb means that's why or therefore. That one is a tricky one to pronounce sometimes because we English speakers see the SH and we think it's pronounced sh, but in German that sound is always spelled SCH. So in the word deshalb, there's a little bit of a break between the S and the H in your pronunciation. Deshalb. We have Unterschied is difference, or Unterschiede as plural differences. And zum Schluss is in conclusion. That's a really helpful one. You can just stick that at the beginning of your concluding sentence every time, and it'll make it a little more polished. So I'm going to use those throughout this paragraph. In this paragraph, we are comparing Klimts Gemälde von Frauen, Der Kuss und Adele Bloch-Bauer 1. So the reason why it's called Adele Bloch-Bauer 1 is because he did also paint another portrait of her later, so that one is labeled number 2. So I'm going to read through this paragraph. I have bolded a few of the sentences that kind of show you the structure that I put, the organization that I put into this paragraph. So I looked at the sentences that you guys gave me. There were a lot of descriptions of what they looked like, and I thought probably what we would do would we would start with all the similarities, because there are a lot of similarities. Then we'd look at some differences. There weren't as many differences that you guys included, so that section is fairly short. So if we start by just looking at these bolded sentences, I wrote as my introduction, Zwei von Gustav Klimts berühmtesten Gemälden stellen Frauen dar. So 2 of Gustav Klimt's most famous paintings depict women. That's that stellen dar. It's a separable prefix verb, a really useful one when you're talking about paintings. And it's to depict or portray. Der Kuss und Adele Bloch-Bauer 1. Okay, so that's my introduction. I'm just introducing the 2 paintings and starting to lead us in this comparison, and that they both depict women. If I scroll down a little bit, this next bolded sentence, this is where we're going to change from the comparing to contrasting. So let's just read that bolded sentence. Die zwei Gemälde sind deshalb, there's that deshalb, the therefore, that's why, sehr ähnlich, they're very similar. Aber es gibt natürlich auch Unterschiede dazwischen. But there is, naturally, also differences dazwischen. Okay, this is what's called a da compound. You see how there's a da at the beginning here? Zwischen is just a preposition that means between. You may already know that. And then the da refers us back to something earlier in the sentence. So in this case, the da is referring back to the paintings. So there are also differences between them, between the paintings. Okay, I'm pretty sure I used another da compound in this paragraph. I'll point it out to you. Oh yeah, when we get there. Alright, and then for my concluding sentence, zum Schluss, in conclusion, sind beide Gemälde interessante Beispiele von Klimts Goldgemälden und von seiner Interesse an Frauen in Kunst. Right? This is not the world's most earth-shattering concluding sentence, but it works. In conclusion, both paintings are interesting examples of Klimt's gold paintings and of his interest in women in art. It's kind of a nice little vanilla ending for us. So let's go back and read this in more detail. So, 2 von Gustav Klimts berühmtesten Gemälden stellen Frauen dar, Der Kuss und Adele Bloch-Bauer 1. Beide Gemälde, both paintings, sind kunstvoll und herrlich, weil Klimt viele interessante Formen und schöne Farben enthalten hat. Okay, I know enthalten is a new word for you. This means to include. So because Klimt included because it's past tense, it's got the hat here. Included many interesting shapes and beautiful colors. I was trying to think of another way to say that. You could just say hat. If you're like, for example, if you're in a test and you can't remember the word for included, you could just say they have many interesting shapes and beautiful colors, but I wanted to elevate this paragraph a little bit, so they included many interesting shapes and beautiful colors. Die Struktur, the structure, der Gemälde, of the paintings, ist ziemlich einfach. Okay, so einfach is simple. A couple of you talked about how they were fairly simple, and I think it was not in terms of the painting, right, because there's a lot of detail in it, but the structure of it is pretty simple. It's just a person or two people with a pretty blank, very gold, but no, without a lot of things in it, background. So the structure is simple. This ziemlich is an adjective describing the simple. It means like pretty simple. Person oder Personen im Vordergrund mit einem einfachen Hintergrund, right? So people in the foreground with a simple background. Der Kuss stellt auch einen Mann dar. Here's this stellt dar, again, the separable prefix verb. So the kiss depicts or portrays also a man. Aber wir können die Gesichten, Gesicht means face. So die Gesichten, the faces, nur von den Frauen in beiden Gemälden klar sehen. So we can see the faces only of the women in both paintings clearly. Alle Gesichten, all faces und Hände and hands sind realistisch gemalt, aber die Kleidungen sind abstrakt. Oh, I missed a period there. Adele Bloch-Bauer's Kleid, her dress, hat zum Beispiel, here's that zum Beispiel, viele Augen darauf. And here's an example of our da compound. All right, and then the R is just there to make this word pronounceable. That is its job. So auf is the preposition, on, and then the da is going to refer us back to something. So on it would be a good translation. And what is the it? The dress right here. Okay. Again, this R is only here because it'd be hard to say da auf. So there's an R, da auf. So her dress has, for example, many eyes on it. Und die Kleidungen von dem Mann hat viele Rechtecke. Here's that da auf again. On it. On what? The clothing of the man. Klimt hat Gold in seinen Farben gemischt und hat die Kleidungen und Hintergründe mit viel Gold gemalt. All right. When I learned the word Farben, I thought this is one reason why I love German, because I first learned Farbe as color, right? Probably how you learned it. And then later I was reading something about art and they used Farben, and I thought, oh, they're talking not just about color, but about paint. So Farben in German can mean color, but it can also mean paint. So here he mixed gold into his paints and then made the clothing and the backgrounds with a lot of gold. Es gibt deshalb, here's that deshalb, therefore, there is therefore einen starken Kontrast zwischen die Personen und alles anderes. Big contrast between the people and everything else. Okay, so this is wrapping up that first section of our paragraph where we have been talking about a lot of the similarities. We talked about the structure, we talked about the people, talked about the contrast between the two kind of styles of painting within each of these. Now we're going to talk about some of their differences. Die zwei Gemälde sind deshalb, they are therefore, sehr ähnlich, very similar. Aber es gibt natürlich auch Unterschiede dazwischen, differences between them. Der Kuss ist romantischer als Adele Bloch-Bauer 1, das nur eine Frau darstellt. Here's that separable prefix verb again, although here it's together in that relative clause. So the kiss is more romantic than Adele Bloch-Bauer 1, which only depicts a woman. Die Frau in der Kuss sieht glücklicher als Adele Bloch-Bauer aus, und der Mann umarmt sie. Wir sehen eine Beziehung. We see a relationship. That's Beziehung, a relationship. In diesem Gemälde, nicht nur eine Person. that seemed to be a big difference between them, right? A few of you pointed this out, that this was a more romantic painting. There was more going on. There's two people. Alright, zum Schluss sind beide Gemälde interessante Beispiele von Klimts Goldgemälden und von seiner Interesse an Frauen in Kunst. Alright, I will link the copy of this paragraph for you. I encourage you to print it and make yourself some notes, especially about those few vocab words that are new. And what I really want you to take from this, I know you're not going to remember all of the vocabulary, but these up here that I highlighted would be really useful for you to keep handy whenever you are going to do something in writing, especially if you practice deshalb and zum Schluss. Putting those in there is fairly easy and can really help your writing a lot. The other thing I want you to take from this is the idea of thinking through your structure of your paragraph and what you want to say and what is the logical way of saying that, and how you want to start with an intro. And then if you're talking about two topics or two aspects of a topic, having a sentence in there that will help transition from one to the other, and then a concluding sentence. You guys have been getting much better at including those throughout this semester, so keep up the good work there.